All
Can
right,
you guys
good?
hear me? I've been muted this whole time. I'm sitting here like talking already. Jeez.
Oh, all right.
All right, give me a second. I'm actually trying to get the right screen up here. Because I would actually, you know what? It doesn't really matter. I'll put up whichever one. That's a calculator. Technical difficulties. Take a shot, guys.
I see you're determining screen ratio.
Yeah, no, actually, I'm actually not sure what you guys can see or what you get.
All I see is calculator 16 divided by 9, 1.7.
All right. Yeah, I'm off to a great start. Give me a second. All right, you guys can see Discord now, right? All right, there we go. That's good enough. All right, guys. Hey, so I have not been kidding. My talk is woefully unprepared. I'm Nye. A lot of you know me. A fair number of you are here because I've given you tickets or you're part of one of my communities. I am a community manager for Dev Talk and for AeroDev. I do a lot of work in VN Spaces to help bring a lot of these communities together and stitch together like this whole shatteredness of community that we've managed ourselves into. And most recently, I've taken over a moderator position over a consumer community / our visual novels from Reddit. So you can imagine my surprise when I put 2 community talks up for Nabs for Agi. And instead of picking either one of the 2 community talks that I'm actually very qualified to talk about, he instead gives me the NaniNovel talk that I put in because I wasn't sure if anyone else was going to do it. So that's what I'm doing today. NaniNovel. I am throwing you under the bus for this, but NaniNovel is I'm just gonna go. You guys can see all my slides. NaniNovel is a plugin for Unity. It is, in my opinion, it's going to be probably one of the best plugins you can receive for visual novels in the next coming year. I know I'm going to start fires in the chat. In fact, I'm just going to go look. No, that's okay. But I honestly think that it's going to be one of the best visual novel engine products out there available within the next year. It's currently in beta. But a lot of people are already using it. In fact, there's a number of them in this chat right now. If any of you want to call yourselves out, be my guest. Oh yeah, the fire started already. Okay, cool. So the NaniNovel is a plugin that's for Unity, and it is. Let me see if I can grab my screens here. And the best way to show you guys how this stuff works is to just give you the demo for it. There's a web demo for it. Because it's made in Unity, and I posted there in the chat for you guys, because it's made in Unity, it's very easy to take this to web. Now let's crash the server. Okay, yeah, don't crash the server, guys. Here is the web demo of it here. It takes a couple minutes for it to download for most people. I'll take you guys through a little bit of it. Yeah, I should probably turn off my notifications. Hey, Ampish. Now you guys are going to start bombing me.
Yeah, do not disturb mode would solve that, I think.
Yeah, I should probably do that. That's a great idea. Do not disturb. Thanks. Thanks, Agi. Good call. All right, here we go. So this is NaniNovel in action. This entire demo was made using nothing but Unity and NaniNovel. There's no programming involved. NaniNovel builds itself as an engine that you can do a lot with without having to know programming. It has a ton of extensions in it that allow you to kind of build a visual novel without needing to know a lot of C# or JavaScript or Unity script, as it were. And you guys can go through the demo yourselves, and I really recommend that you do. There is a bit of a bug with the video player in Chrome, so I'll go ahead and tell you, if you get to the point where there's a video player in the background, it probably will turn black, but it comes with a lot of the standard features that a lot of people expect visual novels to have these days. This includes things like rollback, which I'll go ahead and show you here. You can do. backlog. It also has a built-in library feature and tips feature. If you guys have ever played the Steins Gate series or any series that has a dictionary type of feature, a lot of this stuff is built in, so you don't need to make it. You can define it and just let it run. And a lot of these, and I should probably back up a little bit because I uncovered NaniNovel. I had been programming for about 4 years on a visual novel engine that I was working on for my own. And when I uncovered this, it was a pretty huge revelation to me. This took all of the guesswork out of developing visual novel based components for Unity and just gives me everything that I needed to do to make a visual novel. It allows you to create custom printers. This little area down here where the dialogue pops up, you can do a lot with this. It allows you to create dice sprites, which is a tremendous feature for any visual novel that's being deployed in a resource limited capacity, like the web demo that we have here. Switch, it'll allow you to go there. And because it's built out of Unity, it's you have all these other resources that are available to you because it's gone through because it goes through this. So another great thing about NaniNovel is, I'm gonna bring up here. Yeah, Monica compression, that's right. Yeah, Adam, actually Ellen Griss would probably mention it, but there is an IDE for Adam specifically for NaniNovel. In fact, I'll show you guys a bit later because I'm actually going to show you. But Adam is there's an IDE for NaniNovel script in here, so it's fully compatible. He made it. Anyway, back to what I was getting to. NaniNovel is also meticulously documented. Every single feature that's in NaniNovel is fully documented. And you'll find a lot of the things about Unity is as well if you go through it. But what I want to go through is a couple of the options that are on here. You can create text printers that allow you for standard ADV dialogue, NVL style dialogue here, the full screen printer. I know the 15 frames per second is probably screwing up as I'm scrolling, but the wide printer like you guys are seeing in the demo, and I really do encourage you to go all the way through it. This stuff is built in. You don't have to do any guesswork with this stuff. It's fantastic. A chat printer, you can easily create a mobile device interface around here to create a mobile style device, mobile style display. It also includes bubble printers here, and I'll even show you the screenshots that I have from our wonderful submitters. This is an example of it running from Bride for the Princess. Tuamo's in the chat. She can tell you more about her product there. But this is a live example of the bubble printers running and coming across through this character here. There's a lot to say about this, and I'm sorry I'm stammering over because, like I said, I'm really not prepared for this. But if you go through the documentation, though, there's a lot of features that NaniNovel provides to developers to really take their stuff to the next level. One of the things that I also wanted to mention, because it's been a really hot topic recently, is Live 2D support. And there is full Live 2D support right now in NaniNovel. I'll show you guys here in a second. Of course, there's no sound in it because I believe I muted it, but it does support NaniNovel fully, rather Live 2D fully. And if you're working with other types of character controllers, like say if you're using Spine like I am, I'm actually working on a custom implementation for Spine for NaniNovel. It allows a generic implementation for characters that can allow you to work with other middleware. Here we go, right here. It allows you to set up different triggers for those of you who are more advanced on the programming side. You can create your own triggers and develop your own middleware support for other applications or other plugins that Unity provides, or you can get from the Unity Asset Store. So because it's in Unity, it does run in full 3D space. So you can create, you could easily create interactive or even fully 3D backgrounds. I'm actually looking for the video here. It's not there. Anyway, I'll just pop to one of mine. Here we go. Huzzah. give me 1 second. I'll get it up for you guys. So you could layer different aspects of a UI in here very easily. I'm not going to do this sprite demonstration just yet, but because it's in 3D, you can easily layer on bits of other sprites on top of this. So I've generated this effect by just creating a mouse over script for this particular little phone booth here. This is a Mugen background, by the way. And by mousing over it, you can have it do this. But because I was able to layer on another object over top of this, and I will show you here if I can get to it. This is embarrassing. Sorry, guys. Sorry, deep breath. Yeah, like I said, I wasn't super prepared for this. I've had a lot been going on. Yeah, shut up. Let me go back to it. But like I was saying, you can easily layer in different aspects, and there is a full 3D camera support through Unity. You guys, if you've never used Unity before, it can seem a little intimidating, but with NaniNovel on top of Unity, it actually will take a lot of conventions that you guys may already be familiar with if you're using something like RenPy or VNMaker. A lot of the scripting mechanisms are very straightforward. You guys saw my Atom script earlier, but I really do want to show you guys the this is killing me. Here it is, the booth. I could separate out this booth if I wanted to, and you can see how it is abstracted as a different object entirely. So you can make really highly interactive backgrounds with this. So like someone who is more visually talented than me, because I'm not a designer, could create all kinds of visual effects that throw in the background. Imagine like a train running by, or you can have like lighting effects whenever a person mouses over certain aspects of it. It's really easy to create one script on an object, and you can place it in your scene and it runs. There's not a lot of guesswork that has to be done with it. This is the second part of I wanted to show you guys was the diced sprite implementation. This is one of the things that not a lot of other engines support, but you can take a set of sprites like this set here. These are all very huge sprites, sorry. And they all total out to be about 25 megs. And I've managed to compress this down to 6 megs by using Ellengress's sprite algorithm for dicing. So I'm able to display all of these different sprites. And some of these are community submitted as well. That instead of using 25 megs of space, you guys would only consume 6 megs through like a web deploy or through the switch. So I didn't want to show you guys that. And that's the last one. I shouldn't show you that one. It's terrible. All right, so the NaniNovel is in beta. Hey again, guys. NaniNovel is in beta right now, and there are some quirks with it that aren't quite worked out. But while it's in beta, you can pick it up from the asset store for a discounted price. It supports a lot more than I was able to show here, and I guess I have to apologize for to the NaniNovel community for screwing most of this up. I really wasn't prepared. But if you guys have any questions, honestly, ask them and put me out of my misery. I am better at responding to questions than I am trying to present this. NaniNovel, genuinely, I did want to show the rest of these. Sorry, guys. Feargoff is here in our community. He is working on a 3D VN, and honestly, like, they should have sent the designer to do this because I am not the type of person to do this, but he's working on a 3D VN that leverages Unity's strengths and still uses 2D aesthetics to make this Graveyard Academy VN. There's built-in localization support that allows you to just create different localizations and drop them in as files, so that you don't need to restring a bunch of different things. This screenshot is actually created. This was from another one of the developers that's in the chat right now, from Amoy Fields. I'm afraid I can't pronounce the name of the product, but this is going to mobile as soon as they're done with it. We also got a screenshot from the date night guys, and you probably do recognize this. I don't actually have a link to it. Hold on. I do have a link. I'm going to dive into my DMs real quick and watch and show everyone my DMs. There's a lot of them here. These guys are great, by the way. You should definitely check out their stuff. But they're making their VN entirely in. Oh, that's the wrong one. Yeah, leaked. Definitely check them out. They're also making their stuff in NaniNovel. There's a lot of international support for NaniNovel as well. There's a lot of different localizations going on within NaniNovel. So anyway, if you guys have any questions, I'll stop rambling now and maybe actually get something useful out of me.
There was a couple up there. Yeah, I think that's possible to do anything with.
Oh, the source code. Okay, yeah. Actually, yes. The source code, if you have NaniNovel, the source code is exposed to you. I think I learned NaniNovel in about a month. I popped it up in Dev Talk, and we were sitting around, and I just went through the chat, and I was popping through it. And at one point, I wanted to do an implementation of. I wanted to make a text highlighter so I could reverse the colors of the text instead of having like a black outline, and I wanted a colored outline with black text. I was able to easily pop into the source code, see how it was. I created a new interface for that particular dialogue printer, and every time that I go through it, it has a completely different behavior. It's very easy to extend. Elngris has done a fantastic job of commenting his code and documenting his code everywhere. For people, I'm just going to go through the questions. As you don't have to go. I'm sorry. The primitive things to new to Unity. First off, don't be intimidated by it, I think is the big thing. Unity offers a tremendous amount of opportunity for people, which can be staggering. This is really distracting. You guys are killing me with the question mark. At first off, I would just say don't be intimidated. Learn NaniNovel first, and then start learning the ins and outs of Unity. C# is a must learn if you want to do anything big with it. If you are just wanting to get a hang of it, or you want to do a simple project, maybe a jam or something like that, you absolutely need no coding or Unity experience to really do that. All of the guides that Elngris provides in the documentation will walk you through every step of the way, and it will handhold you through the entire thing. Yes, I was unprepared for this presentation. I'm sorry. I was fully expecting to do a community presentation, and the 2 weeks leading up to my talk, I had a lot of like personal hardships. I won't go into deals, and I'm not going to make any excuses. This is entirely my fault. But I definitely was not prepared for this as much as I would have liked to. How hard is it to know the English language and no coding? It just doesn't no coding otherwise. It's I would say, Justy, like I know you, so I think that if you knew no coding at all, I think you could easily get into it. If you can program something in RenPy, you can not program. If you can script something in RenPy, you can definitely use the NaniScript language. I picked it up in about a month, like I said, and I do have some background in scripting, and so it might be a little bit different for me, but it's all very plain English. All the parameters are documented here. I really do encourage you guys to go through the documentation and the introduction, because this is an entire guide on doing everything in here that you could possibly do without coding. It's handheld the entire way. How well does NaniNovel work for 3D non-VN games? Actually, it works really well, because there is some there is a tremendous amount of support for other things that you can use NaniNovel to layer over RPGs. You can do it over FPS games if you really wanted to. NaniNovel can be turned off and turned on as you're playing the game, so you can do entire VN segments and have gameplay on the side. I could reasonably see someone making 999 in an engine like NaniNovel or any of the VLR games, honestly. How well does it support conditional choices? Very well. You can. It has a very in-depth. God, I really wish I had planned this better. But conditional choices. You can validate conditionals in scripts real time, or you can pass it out to like something more complicated in C# or something like that, and you can generate choices on the fly. In fact, you can make a choice map. One of the demonstrations in the documentation does show how to make a map out of the choice prompts that comes up. It would like I said, it would be very easy to use the choice-based system, even the choice system or NaniNovel in general, to make a game like 999. If you guys have ever played it, you could very easily create pre-rendered screens of like scenes like in 999, do a hover over text like I did, rather a hover over object like I showed you guys earlier in my haphazard VN demonstration. And you could use that to highlight different things. And if the object isn't there, you can remove the object, let's say in your story. Let's say if someone picks up a fire poker and you remove it and whatever, that kind of support for conditional choices is there. So it's actually pretty easy to do. And in what case would you recommend a team switch from one engine to another? Are there any pros to cons you would point out? I'd say I'm just gonna, yeah. This engine, compared to other engines, I would say there's really not a lot of I don't want to oversell NaniNovel because it is still in beta. I think that's its biggest downside. It is fully supported. Elengris has been fantastic for supporting other people in his projects. If you go into the VNConf speaker links, there's a link to the NaniNovel server. Elengris does all of his support through there. If you buy a copy of NaniNovel, there's a support channel that you get exclusive access to, and he is in there with us every day. As for switching engines, I don't think it's something that, if your current engine supports all the platforms you want to get to, I wouldn't suggest switching away from it. If NaniNovel does, because it's in Unity, does support most major platforms. Elengris is currently working on Switch right now. I know he has a couple bugs in Switch, I think, that he wants to get solved. I wouldn't suggest, if you're in the middle of a project, I wouldn't suggest it unless you really need some of the features that it provides, like the advanced 3D support. I'm actually pretty convinced that the support in Unity for 3D VNs is probably the best in the business, and NaniNovel being on top of that would be great. But I wouldn't suggest switching mid-project unless you really had a need for some of the features. How good is it if someone wanted to switch from RenPy to any other engine with existing UI? Porting over UIs, that's actually something I've been working on. I did not want to show you guys the secret project that I'm working on, but I am porting over my implementation of when the shutter stops over to NaniNovel. The UI that was created was actually created in mind for RenPy ages ago. And I wound up porting that to Unity in my own system, and now I'm moving it over to NaniNovel now. So if you want to take a UI that exists somewhere else, it should be very painless. The text printers support all kinds of different formats. The bubble printer, it's very flexible. You can use the prefab system that exists in Unity. If you learn more about Unity, you'll realize it's actually really easy to do. But prefabs would allow you to very easily put something together and reuse it everywhere. So question, sorry, Vex. How well does it work on consoles? I don't actually know how well. I haven't tested it personally. Elengris can speak to it more than I could. I know that Unity does support builds to consoles, so it should be supported. I think the only thing that's really stopping him right now is some of the I/O concerns with save files. Elengris would definitely be better prepared to answer that question, though. And he probably is, hopefully. And prefabs are amazing, yes. You make something once, and then you can put logic on it, and then you can throw it somewhere else, and it will retain that logic. You don't have to program every single instance of every single thing that you do. If you want to make a button, you make a button once, and then you give it a different name, and it behaves differently. It's fantastic. Like there's a lot of stuff with prefabs that make life just infinitely easier.
Sweet. All right, we're on our last minute, so I'm going to pass it to Nick while we finish up the last question or comment. And
Okie dokie.
yay. Thank you, Nye, for letting me throw you into the pit of despair. Because I literally don't look at like the name of people when I'm picking topics, so it's just like, oh, I want a NaniNovel thing, and then it happened to be you. So, all right, Nick, you're up, and you can take it away whenever you're ready.